Hello and welcome to Türkiye Talks. As usual, I'm joined by Kadir Üstün from Washington and Yücel Acer from Ankara. Professor Acer, welcome to Türkiye Talks. We are going to talk about recent escalation between Turkey and Greece, and also we are going to talk about latest developments in regards to European security, NATO expansion. But first, let's start with Turkish-Greek relations. After Mitsotakis' visit to United States and his remarks at the US Congress against Turkey, there was a considerable reaction from Turkish government, and President Erdogan criticized Mitsotakis by talking in different ways. His statements in Turkey was far different from what he said in US Congress. Maybe we should remind our viewers that this escalation takes place from time to time, and when it comes to Turkey's relations with Greece, especially we have some ongoing issues in the AEGEAN Sea, also in Mediterranean, the question of Turkish minority in Greece. So several problems we have. I want to give the first statements to Professor Yücel Acer. Mr. Acer, how do you evaluate this recent escalation between Turkey and Greece? Why do you think Greek government changed her attitude against Turkey after exploratory talks, after a good meeting with President Erdogan? There was an expectation of strategic meeting between the two sides. What happened and why we are in this situation right now?
Thank you very much, first of all. As you say, it has actually been going relatively well in recent months, actually, after the demise of the crisis in the Eastern Mediterranean Sea between Greece and Turkey and some other countries. But unfortunately, within last week, actually, this week, there have been some developments, actually, that created, again, very tense relations between two countries. Actually, about a week ago, the Greece accused Turkey of violating its national airspace in the Aegean Sea. It was the first, strike statement from Turkey at any violations of Greek national airspace in the Aegean Sea. Following that statement, the Greek Prime Minister made a speech at the US Congress. Actually, in that speech, there have been many accusations towards Turkey. First of all, Mitsotakis accused Turkey of trying to be Ottoman Empire again, and also, in a sense, remind the United States Congress that Turkey is not really a trustworthy ally in NATO. So he was actually trying to emphasize that, look, Turkey is not really an ally to you. And there have been some other, a bit, disappointing statements about Turkey in the Congress. And later on, then these have already created a great, disappointment on the Turkish side. If you look at the statements from Turkish Foreign Ministry, then actually Turkey was forced to make some, responses to Greece. And when these are going on, we know that just 2 days ago, the Greek Prime Minister take an issue of, a statement from Turkish Foreign Minister to the EU summit, saying that, look, Turkey is trying to, capture the islands because Turkey was opening a discussion over the sovereignty of these islands. So actually, he demanded the European Union countries to help Greece against Turkey. All these actually happened within last week. So it created quite an anxious time again out of nothing. So that's why we ask why Greece has been doing this in recent week. There has been some, explanations we can make about this recent, rather, disappointing statements. Although there have been good relations in recent months, because Turkey and Greece had 3 times exploratory talks within 1 year. So we have been actually hoping to continue to see that dialogue, trying to settle the disputes. Maybe my first explanation could be that, Greece actually, as always, again, trying not to negotiate and give any compromise on the issues in the Aegean Sea and in the Mediterranean Sea. This is actually deeply rooted in the Greek mindset. Greece in Comas already lost a lot of territories to Turkey, over the centuries. So there is nothing to give back to Turkey. That's the very firm exception, actually approval on the Greek side. That's why whenever there is a process of dialogue, Greece always try to create something, unfavorable situation, not to be in a situation to negotiate any further. Just the negotiation creates quite a big tension in the Greek internal politics. So governments have always tried not to be seen as a government negotiating with Turkey on the Aegean issues. This is because Greece has an approach of one question approach, we call it, or one dispute approach. Greece says that there is only one dispute. It's a delimitation of continental shelf in the Aegean Sea. So there is no dispute over the militarization of the islands. There is no dispute over the Greek national airspace. There is no dispute over the territorial waters, which are all actually, seen as serious disputes by Turkey. So this approach only, one dispute approach only demonstrates us this. There is no real or sincere will on the Greek side to negotiate on any dispute with Turkey. But unfortunately, all this happening every time, Greece always accuses of Turkey being the side not really acting in accordance with international law. In recent 2 years, actually, Greece has been, spending a lot of efforts to make a perception over Turkey that Turkey is actually a legal country in Comas, violating international law almost every day in the Aegean Sea and in the Mediterranean Sea. That's the perception Greece has been trying to create over Turkey. Unfortunately, because of the a bit tricky relations between European Union and Turkey and between USA and Turkey, Greece actually has been exploiting or using these circumstances towards the interest of Greece, actually.
Yeah, to put pressure on Turkey. So it has domestic side of it, and also, as you have said, international situation also maybe gives Greece a floor. Maybe at this point, Kadir, you can join this discussion. The United States and some European countries are using Greece to contain Turkey. This is my personal opinion and perception. What, do you agree with that, or there is something more behind it?
Well, I understand that perception, Bora, but Turkey is not a country that can be contained. It's not. I think that's especially when Israel, Greece, Cyprus, Egypt, UAE. At some point, this was a year and a half ago, I think, when they were trying to coalesce together and set up some sort of gas line, natural gas line towards Europe. That was really what was felt in Turkey, and Turkey's agreement with Libya prevented all of that, and Turkey is in a much more comfortable place today, thanks to that. And it was clear that, you know, you cannot simply restrict Turkey to a corner of Mediterranean. And tensions had been high at that time, if you remember, and then especially the unresolved issue of Cyprus keeps coming up, keeps popping up, because Turkey, you know, sent out some exploration ships to drill around the island in response to Cyprus's claims about the natural gas resources in the Eastern Mediterranean. So those tensions had been had led to a strategic dialogue mechanism between Turkey and Greece, and the tensions appear to be appear to have subsided over the past several months. But I feel like the U.S. investment in Greece is kind of a response to Russia in some ways, because they feel like Russia has been making inroads into Eastern European countries, including Greece. So the building up of U.S. Bases in Greece is driven by that sort of perception about basically not letting Russia has more influence over Greece and Cyprus. As we know, Russia has a lot of investments in Cyprus and developed relations with Greece, etc. But that investment, U.S. investment, seems to have resulted in emboldening of Greek leadership and feeling like they can sort of get the U.S. on their side and Europe on their side and have sort of gained the upper hand against Turkey in the disputed issues that Professor Acer just mentioned, in the AEGEAN Sea, in the natural gas issue, in the Cyprus issue. Of course, whenever tensions increase in the region, you know, Turkey makes its position rather clear, and it's ready to take action into its own hands. And that's what's happening in the past week or so. We just heard the Turkish foreign minister's statement about, you know, Aegean Islands. If you're going, these islands are supposed to be demilitarized, but they're flying over them. All the Greeks are flying planes over them, essentially raising tensions with Turkey. This has been a common thing for the last several decades. There's always, you know, Turkish F-16s and Greek F-16s do dogfights over these islands. But there's a new dimension, I think, on the Greek side, especially their attitude in the past several weeks. They feel like they're emboldened and openly kind of criticizing Turkey in an environment where Russia has invaded Ukraine and Turkey is critical for Ukrainians as well. This is not a very helpful approach. And, you know, by accepting Cyprus into the EU, the Europeans have already made a big mistake, I think, by violating their own principle about not including countries with border disputes. They've made that issue basically unresolvable. And now, if they align with Greece against Turkey, this is not going to help any of the, you know, it's not going to help NATO unity. It's not going to help European security. It's not going to help, you know, the countries that are trying to help Ukraine and find peace to find an end to that conflict. So it's not very helpful. These, hopefully tensions will go down, but the ending of the strategic dialogue mechanism between Turkey and Greece as a result of recent Greek actions is, you know, something that Turkish President Erdogan just mentioned today in his speech. So that's not a good development, and tensions probably will increase in the short term. But hopefully, Greece, like Professor Acer indicated, their actions lately have not been very wise, to be honest. So, yeah.
I mean, historically, when we look at Turkish-Greek relations, right now we have seen in the U.S. Congress, Greece portrayed Turkey as the aggressor, as a maximalist power looking for past Ottoman times. But when we look at history, starting from May 15, 1919, it was the Greek side who attacked Turkish territory. We remember what happened in Cyprus. They sent Grivas to the island who organized atrocities. We know this Enosis, uniting the island with Greece. This is another maximalist policy, militarizing the islands which should have been demilitarized. My first foreign deployment as journalist was to Greece in 1996. There was elections, Miltiadis Evert versus Simitis, and I was assigned to cover these elections in the Western Thrace, in the Turkish community region. I remember there was a no entry zone within Greece. Some villages in which Turks and other Muslims were living, it was banned to go there. You needed a special permission to get there. I have seen there was a minority union in İskeçe, in Xanthi. Because of its name in 1990s, it was banned because it was saying Turkish minority union. This situation, this problem is still going on today. I remember elected Turkish muftis were banned and put to prison. So all of these things still happening. This is the historical and political side. Professor Yücel, I would like to ask you the legal dimension of that, from international law point of view. Who is maximalist? When we look at the Greek claims in the Mediterranean, the Sevilla map and other stuff, can you a little bit explain from international law point of view this problem?
Thank you. Actually, Kadir and me have been trying to, underline what Greece has done to, develop this crisis again. If we look at the actually argument whether Greece is justified, in accusing Turkey to be an illegal country in the agency and in the Eastern Mediterranean Sea. Let me start with this very fundamental issue. Greece refuses to accept the existence of any disputes other than the continental shelf delimitation. According to international law, if there is a disagreement of opinions over a legal or factual issue between two countries, so legally speaking, there is a dispute on that. There are many international law court judgments, examining how to identify the existence of disputes. I can count at least 5 international jurisprudence saying that if there is only a disagreement over an issue which is legal or factual, so that means there is legally a dispute. So it's clearly, the case that in the agency, Turkey and Greece has many disputes they have to settle according to international law. So that's the first and very fundamental point. The second is that, Greece has been for many years accusing Turkey of violating its national airspace. Let me a bit, underline a couple of significant points. Greece applies 10 miles national airspace when it is applying 6 miles territorial waters. There is no such example in whole world. Your national airspace extent is up to the extent of your territorial waters. It is like quite funny that if you are swimming in the sea area, which is just over the 6 miles in the agency, your head is in the Greek national airspace, while your body is in the high seas. So that means out of the Greece. It's quite funny. There is no such example. So whenever Turkish military aircrafts fly over this extra, illegal, actually, airspace, Greece accuses Turkey of violating its own national airspace. This is such a absurd, attitude according to international law. So there is no point accusing Turkey, legally speaking, there is no point accusing Turkey violating Greek national airspace. On the other hand, the militarization of islands, that's quite clear. In 1964, Turkey first gave a note verbal to Greece, actually warning that Greece could not, militarize the island of Rhodos because it was demilitarized by the Paris Peace Treaty. And the Greek response was that, it was not actually militarizing, it was respecting the international conventions, demilitarizing the islands. So it was the official statement on the Greek side saying that, yes, these islands should be demilitarized, and it was not actually militarizing these islands. Over the years now, Greece actually openly, argues that it has a right to militarize these islands. In this sense, Turkey quite rightly says this: if you are violating such a fundamental rule of international conventions regulating these islands, like Lausanne Peace Treaty and Paris Peace Treaty, then, according to international law, Turkey has a right to question some other articles of these conventions regulating these islands, Lausanne Peace Treaty, basically. So that's according to Article 60 of Vienna Convention, which gives a clear right to a country which is, affected quite adversely by such a fundamental or material breach of international conventions. So that's the actual case, actually, in the Aegean Sea. Turkey has been consistently calling Greece towards a negotiation, a sincere negotiation. And so that's why today the president of Turkey clearly stated that if Greece do not start sincere negotiations, and real and genuine and sincere negotiations, then Turkey would not establish this high-level consultation council meetings again, and there would be no contact with Greece. That's a quite justified statement, because there is no point actually trying to establish, negotiation process while Greece is not serious at all, in settling these disputes, just wandering around, creating many reasons not to give anything to Turkey. That's why the statement is quite justified. So eventually, there is no legal situation which shows that Turkey is violating any single rule of international law in the Aegean Sea, actually.
Yeah, Kadir, what is your take on that? I would like to also remind you, recently there was an article at European Council Foreign Relations a few years ago, actually. They were talking about soft containment of Turkey by not letting Turkish Cypriots to earn their rights. They say the starting point of Turkey's soft containment is Cyprus. So do you think this is also related to that? Greece is part of this policy because they also, they don't want Turkey to be effective and powerful actor here. And also, remembering their attitude against Turkey. It's not only Mediterranean and other issues, but when it comes to Turkey's fight against terrorism, we remember Greeks were caught in red-handed when Abdullah Öcalan was trying to find a place when he was forced to leave Syria in 1990s. He spent some time in Athens He was caught with a Greek secret passport. So we should also remember all this stuff. What do you think about it?
Well, there's a long history of Turkish-Greek relations that are, very problematic. You mentioned a few issues. We haven't mentioned the refugee issue as well. So these are problematic neighbors. Turkey and Greece have always had serious issues, including the islands issue, now most recently natural gas, refugees. Cyprus issue has been long-standing headache for both countries, but unresolvable essentially because of the Europeans, and there are other things as well. But at the same time, these are NATO countries, and their relationship within NATO helped them kind of keep tensions at a manageable level for a long time. And but at the same time, Greek sort of influence and Cyprus's inclusion in the EU made it virtually impossible for Turkey to have real negotiations in joining the EU. That's another layer as well. And there's also the perception that is on the Greek side that's, they kind of benefit from this idea of Turkey as a threat that is about to, attack Greece or something like that. And domestically, that's a good sort of political thing that many Greek politicians play. And when you look at Turkish domestic policies, you don't quite have the anti-Greek sort of rhetoric making a lot of much of the agenda inside Turkey, because it doesn't really bring up much votes to any one party. And Cyprus issue, for instance, is a national issue for Turkey. There's no difference among the parties. Many of the issues that Turkey has been dealing with regarding Greece, there's quite a bit of broad agreement among the parties inside Turkey. So there's that dynamic where with Greece, the boogeyman is Turkey, but for Turkey, there are much larger issues, regional issues that Turkey deals with. So this creates these, from time to time, the increase in tensions is kind of normal. But what's happening lately is geopolitics of the region is changing in really fundamental ways. With Russia's invasion of Ukraine, now the NATO's own conception of security is changing. Now Finland and Sweden want to join the NATO. Turkey has reservations about that. There's big conversations going on about what to do with China, what to do with Russia, how to deal with regional security, how to deal with energy crisis, supply chain issues, etc. There's such big, challenges confronting the NATO alliance, confronting the transatlantic alliance. Right in the middle of this, when European leaders, U.S. leaders should be seeking unity, right? We are seeing these unnecessary tensions increasing in the region. But of course, we've been discussing, and these are real conflicts of interest between two countries, and Turkey has always been ready to resolve these. Remember Turkey's advocacy for, a resolution to the Cyprus issue with the Annan plan, but Greek Cypriots, if you remember, through the referendum, they said no to a lasting solution, and today they feel like they have nothing to gain from coming to an agreement with the Turkish Northern Cyprus Republic. And it is a divided island in reality, but Cyprus acts like it's not. And then, like Professor Acer mentioned, you know, islands. Greece claims this, you know, unreasonable thing about the airspace versus the waters, and that at some point they were even talking about increasing the, you know, limits, water limits to 12 miles even. That would be basically, you know, starting a conflict with Turkey, to put it simply. And, you know, the natural gas issue, there's a big crisis right now. These countries need to be cooperating. Right in the middle of this, right? Turkey and Greece need to cooperate on natural gas, Cyprus, Ukraine, refugees, you know, so it's kind of mind-boggling, to be honest, to think that you can somehow lobby the US, lobby Europeans, and try to push Turkey into a corner and somehow gain advantage. How? I really don't see it. These countries, you know, the US under Biden has been more or less pro sort of Greek politician in his 30-something year career. He knows these issues really well. And now under his administration, there's quite a bit of investment in Greece. And I find that the Biden administration, especially Biden himself, should be calling President Erdogan and discussing these major issues we just mentioned, because Turkey is a critical NATO ally, and by excluding Turkey, you cannot arrive at any solution on refugees, natural gas, Ukraine, any of the issues. So he knows this, but strengthening Greece militarily and investing in that country, I think we shouldn't, you know, Turkey should not feel threatened by that. But when you add it all up, and then Greek side increases the tensions, then, you know, then Turks become justified in their feeling of what's happening here and questioning things and pulling out of that strategic dialogue mechanism. I hope cooler heads, you know, prevail soon, and we can get back to resolution. But this is what happens when you don't deal with the issues. You just freeze them and say that, okay, we'll take care of it at future dates. That's what's happening with Cyprus and other issues. Sorry, I made this too long, but Bora, do you agree? I said that Greece was not really an election-winning issue inside Turkey. Maybe you can address that. And Professor Acer, I actually have a question for you. Remember the natural gas issue around Cyprus? Are there things you can tell us about international law regarding that? Those are my questions to you guys.
Bora, would you like to start?
You go, please.
Actually, you know, these are quite significant matters, you know. Legally speaking, in the Eastern Mediterranean Sea, the gas pipeline project, which is called the EastMed, actually was designed basically to exclude Turkey from the picture. Although Turkey has the longest coastline in the Eastern Mediterranean Sea, it was an attempt, in a sense, to isolate Turkey, you know, exclude Turkey from all processes. Unfortunately, you know, this actually has been, you know, seeing some support from some countries. As Kadir said, there is no way out, actually, you know, by excluding such a big country in that region, which has actually the longest coastline on the one hand. On the other hand, it's the biggest country in that region. So you cannot settle any dispute by excluding Turkey. Eventually, United States declared that this EastMed gas project is not really viable. So even if there was such a project going into effect, the pipeline should go through the Turkish continental shelf. Eventually, Turkey should be involved, and that would be not the right thing to involve Turkey. Actually, there will be some problems at that level. So that's why because of this fundamental missing part in that picture, United States declared eventually that's not possible or viable to establish such a pipeline. So all other countries at the moment, luckily recently, Turkey has a rather more positive contact with Israel. I think they started to discuss this matter, how to transport any findings in terms of hydrocarbons from Eastern Mediterranean to other countries. I think Turkey eventually should be involved, and I think that's going to happen. So let me say this briefly. On the Greek side, I have been in Greece recently, and they were quite happy with seeing so many U.S. military bases to be open in Greece. I was quite surprised. They just assumed that all these military bases are against Turkey, actually, in terms of Greek-Turkish disputes. That's not the case, actually. Greece could be a better or the only option at the moment for United States for such activities. That the situation Greece has itself created for the United States, and United States actually just using this. And in the long term, Greece should understand that it's not a good idea to have so many military bases of another country in your own country, because that would create many problems in the future.
Yeah, maybe before going into Turkish domestic politics, I would like to ask you as maybe final question about this agreement between Turkey and Libya, which defines Turkish blue homeland doctrine. Do you think from legal point of view, can Greek government or Greece challenge this, or it is settled?
I mean, if I can say in terms of legal rules regulating the issue, that's quite justifiable that Turkey and Libya could establish a maritime boundary according to international law that was quite perfectly legal. Of course, it's up to Greece not to recognize just for themselves, actually, for Greece only. So, Greece does not recognize this boundary, but this non-recognition creates effects only for Greece, not for all others. I know that there are 2 more countries which declared that they don't recognize the boundary. One of them was Egypt, and the other one Syria, actually. Not Israel, but Syria. So it doesn't really make any significant difference in terms of the validity of that boundary, actually. So there is a maritime boundary between Turkey and Libya, which is perfectly, legal.
Yeah, I think this was a very smart move by Turkey in 2019, which changed all the calculations and balances in the Mediterranean. When it comes to Kadir's question about Greece's attitude and its impact in Turkish domestic policy, I don't think, as Yücel Hoca also mentioned, it's not a big issue for Turkish parties. Yes, from time to time, when Greece makes a declaration about issues in Turkey, like the opening of Hagia Sophia for prayers, when they criticize it, I think it works for the government, because although there are some opposition, in general, I think most of Turkish population are happy about this opening. And since it has been opened, millions of people from all around the world are coming and visiting the mosque, praying there. So it has a positive impact in Turkish domestic policy for the government, actually, who initiated this opening. When also Greece makes these maximalist statements, this country, Turkey won its war of liberation against Greece and their supporters. So I don't think there is a consensus about the attitude of Greece. So I don't think Turkish political parties are using Greek issue as a bargaining chip or for getting votes. There are other issues: war against terror, economy, the situation of the opposition, their expectation for a candidate, because we have maybe a year or just 13 months to go for the elections. So it's not a big issue, and Turkey-Greece problems is more an international and foreign policy issue. This is how I see the situation. So I think with this, we came to the end of this program. Thank you very much, Kadir Üstün, and thank you very much, Yücel Acer from Ankara and Washington. Hope to see you another time for discussing Turkish foreign policy. Thanks for watching.
Thank you very much. Thank you.